Welcome to tonight's Clickcast. Get comfortable, kick off your shoes. Our broadcast journey, we're here to amuse. Watch this week's our broadcast delight. Dive into discussions, photography insight. Welcome to tonight's Clickcast. Welcome to tonight's Clickcast.
I wanted to do a project that was quite powerful, right? I didn't even know what. I've got to be honest. I was just at uni. Wanted to do a documentary project that would sort of that would just hit home. Really, it was less about composition and lighting and grain and. It was nothing. When I was taking these pictures, I was just looking for a moment in the person or that time in place. I had to go and work here, volunteer here, really, for about 6 months.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is another Clickcast discussion where we interview up-and-coming photographers and well-established photographers. This evening, we've got a special guest from my side. We've got Marc Newton from the School of Photography, of whom I'm a member. So we'll just bring Marc in now. And good evening, Marc. How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for getting me on. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest.
Not a problem. And Gladys is Gladys Yell, he's another member of the panel here.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I can hear you.
Okay, well, thanks for coming on, Marc. I know you're a busy man in the School of Photography, but I think what would be good for us all and our viewers is to maybe, first of all, it's the usual question that gets asked, but if you could maybe just give us a little bit of your background and actually, when did you get into photography and what made you get into photography?
Yeah, well, how long you got, man? I can go right the way back to like the 90s here. I'll try and give you a brief rundown of it, but like so obviously I think like everybody, it comes from school, it seemed to be the only thing I was good at was kind of like arty things and creative, like 2D visual sort of stuff. And then I was working for a bit when I was a kid and didn't like it, so I went back to college and then just did art and photography. When I went to university, I did photography for 3 years. That was 1997 to 2000, and then assisted photographers and then did my own photography work. Then I started to teach, and teaching was something that I just thought to myself, I'll do this for a bit and get some money. This was in 2002.
Okay.
I'm still at it right now, I'm still at it now. I don't know, it's just something that I really sort of enjoyed when I was doing it. And the thing is with photography in anything, the genre that you earn your money from, it will find you eventually, because it will be the thing that you put your most energy into. And it's as simple as that, really. And I think that's just what happened with me. So I started to teach. I was in schools, I was in colleges, and then I started to do Saturday classes to the public, evening classes, and then I started my own company, School of Photography, obviously, and then started to do online courses. And then, and here I am, all these years later with the School of Photography, which is quite a big company now. We've got 5 permanent members of staff, and then I think there's about another 7 or 8 photographers that work with us as well, as you know, Brian, with our courses and everything like that. So so it's just sort of just developed and grown really, and long may it continue.
Yeah, and I think also it'd be good to know from people, because I know that you've had a lot of you've got a lot of qualifications, you've done exhibitions, you've got you've had a few awards and some publications. So just maybe a wee bit background to that, Mark, just to give us a bit of an understanding of what you've done in your photography career.
Yeah, okay. So when I was at university, I won first. So I've sent you pictures. Actually, I've sent you sort of 3 projects, really, like beginning, middle, and end. I thought I'd just go down that route.
Okay.
And when I was at uni, I won this award called the Jack Jackson Prize, which was quite big because there was only 2 awards in for all. So it was a photography degree and college courses award for it's like documentary photography, and I won it at an exhibition at the it was called Focus on Imaging. I don't know how old the people are watching this remembers that, but that is now called the Photography Show. It used to be called Focus on Imaging at the NEC in Birmingham. Yeah, and it was in a book and everything like that, and so that sort of kicked it all off back then. And when I left uni, I wanted to be a documentary photographer. Really, I wanted to share stories with the world.
Mm-hmm.
You soon figure out that don't pay the rent, and it still don't to this day. It still don't pay the rent, and I suppose that's where the teaching part came into it. Yeah, and then but I still been doing projects through the years, and the other one that I shared with you, I'm sure you're going to show, is the boot sale project, which is basically about throwaway culture, and yeah, and again that got sponsored by Olympus, and we had an exhibition. Didn't get to a book because they ended up going they didn't go bust, but Olympus went to a different company, didn't they? So right at that particular point in time, which was like shit, but there you go. And then that was that, and then I've done all sorts of photography for money, basically, like just portraiture, weddings, and all of them little things, but none of which I've really enjoyed, really, if I'm going to be honest with you, especially like weddings and all the kids' portraits, the normal things that photographers do to earn money, So I just didn't pursue that because and that's basically it, really. And now I sort of I just do what I can. I mean, the irony of it is now I've got like a fairly big photography company. I hardly do any bloody photography because I'm running the company. I do a lot of video work now. I do a lot of video work, but the photography side of things, I really have to try and squeeze in there, and I just really just do it for myself now. So I'm going. Well, we're going out. I'm going out in a couple of weeks to do photography with some friends, etc. But it's like people think that's because I've got the school of photography, that I just go out and take photos all the time. I'm running a business. I'm doing VAT. I'm doing wages. I'm doing marketing and Facebook ads and Google ads and designing adverts and I don't know, all sorts of things. And that's basically my life at the minute. But I mean, I still enjoy it. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to be like Don McCullen and go and just earn me money just by going and photographing the world. But it's still not a bad job what I do.
And you've got a couple of publications though, haven't you, as well?
What do you mean, like books?
Yes.
I've been in quite a few books, as a matter of fact. You mean the book? I've got that. I've got this book. Should we do a plug? Should we do a plug, Brian? Am I full screen?
Go for it. Yeah.
Am I full screen? Because there we go. It's available on Amazon now. #1 bestseller for beginner photographers. So if you want to learn photography, there you go. Go and get it. It's on Amazon worldwide as well. So there you go. I've got that book there. And then there's been features in all sorts of things. I was in the Digital Camera magazine the other day. Had an article there, double-page article there. There's an interview like this actually, but obviously they typed it up.
What was it? What was it all about, Mark? Because I've not seen that. What was that all about? What was the?
They were asking me questions about photography, like just literally like, where do you think photography is going to go?
All right.
You know,
Yeah.
what photographers do you recommend people to follow, and who's you know, and that
Right.
kind of thing. It was like
Okay.
just a general interview, but I was plugging the book, you see. So like, you know, you know, so at the end of the interview, it's like, you know, go and buy the book type thing. Yeah. So that was in November's issue, I think.
Okay. Gladys, you want to ask Mark anything just now?
So that
I was,
again.
I was going to ask, what's your favorite thing that you do in photography? Like, what's your favorite aspect of photography?
Pete, well, at the moment, I'm doing a lot of night photography, and I like that. I've always liked it because it's slow and meticulous, and you've really got to know your stuff to get like really, you know, sharp, well exposed. You know, you really got to know your stuff. So I quite like that because it's a way to just put all of these skills into practice. And I think that's why I kind of got drawn to night photography, because it is one of them things that if you don't know your stuff, it's not going to come out that well. And everything comes together, you know, exposure, processing, you know, composition, scouting, finding the right location, all of these things. I like that. I like the technical side of photography. I always have. That's what got me into it when I was young. I like the numbers, you know. I like the numbers. I like controlling the numbers and doing the maths, and, you know, controlling the science, because you are in control of a camera. You know, just click away. You know, you are in control. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing at the minute, and I'm really enjoying it. I suppose but when it comes to looking at photography, what I would, if I had carte blanche, it'd be like people, you know, and documentary style people. I love that. I saw there's people photography there. That's the stuff that's going to last, I think. You know, we've all got pretty landscapes. We've all got pretty pictures of cities of night, which you'll see. But pictures of people is what lasts, you know. And that's what I really like. That I saw, there's an exhibition I saw the other weekend, the Proud Galleries in London. Jill Ferdinanza, I think she is a music photographer. She's famous for photographing Oasis, so all the Oasis photos that you see will be from her. She absolutely a brilliant photographer. Like, she's Pink Floyd. So she's photographed Pink Floyd and Oasis, like my two sort of best bets, and it was just a really fantastic exhibition. But them types of pictures, and they're kind of like off the cuff documentary type pictures. So she followed them around on tour. I bought her book. Oh, it's over there somewhere. It's in my bookshelf over there, but I bought it in like 97 or whatever, 96, 97, and it was called Was There Then? And it was based because, you know, that the Oasis album Be Here Now.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
She kind of followed them around the world and photographed them here, there, and everywhere. And she produced that book, and I've followed her ever since, really. And now the internet comes up, and so you can follow her on Instagram. And that was a fantastic show, and I would reckon it's free. Anyone that's in London, it's there till February. I don't work for them or anything like that, but it's free. It's at the Proud Galleries in London. If you're into music and if you're into photography, which are my two favorite things in the whole world, then that is an exhibition to go and see for sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I wish I was in London now. Now you've just said that.
Yeah. I was up your way like a little while ago in the summer. I was up at the Fringe. Are you in Edinburgh as well, Gladys? Are you?
Yeah, I'm in Edinburgh.
Yeah. I was at the Fringe. We saw the what's his name, Grayson Perry show. That was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an Essex boy. I travel all the way. He literally comes from down the road from me, like a 20-minute drive from where I live. And
so you traveled all the way from Essex to Edinburgh to hang out with another Essex guy.
Yeah. I didn't hang out with him. I just saw his stuff, but it was really cool. But that's what I like. People stuff. I mean, you know, Don McCullen is just like someone that you just can't help but admire the stuff that he's done. And I was lucky enough to see he had a retrospective at the Tate Britain in London. Massive show, like massive rooms and rooms. And and people, to Don McCullen, for people that know, he's like call him a war photographer, but really he's a documentary photographer that's been to these war zones across the world. And you're walking around this exhibition and it was like silent because all the photos were just like heart-wrenching things that you just couldn't believe, like, and it's just, so stuff like that's what I'm saying to you, like people and that documentation of people, that's the stuff that's going to be here when we all go. You know, my pictures of London looking pretty at the night time, you know, that's not going to be here when I'm gone, but you know, pictures of people will, that's for sure. It's
quite brave to go out on the war field because you're basically risking your life and then taking pictures as well.
Yeah. Well, when I was at uni, because I studied it, when my thing at uni was documentary photography, which you'll see through the photos there, but you know, I studied all the war photographers, Robert Capa, you know, Don McCullen, and Robert Capa ended up treading on a landmine, you know, and Don McCullen is not that straight in the head by his own admission. You know, he does landscapes now because that calms you down.
Yeah, good for the soul.
Good for the soul, yeah.
Indeed, yeah.
But I actually wanted to be one of them. I honestly did. I was really raring to pursue that as a career when I left university. But
you know, what do you do to become one of those? If you
exactly, I just did. I just don't. You know what? That's the thing. I don't think I actually knew. I was young and naive, and that. You know, I won that prize, and I did a few other bits of exhibitions here and there, but there was no money coming my way, and I didn't really know. See, there's photography and there's business, and I think if you've not got both of them mixed together, then you just don't make it. No matter how good you are, you've got to be good at business. And I was young, and I just wasn't at that.
I mean, just on that point, Mark, that's maybe a good thing. I mean, clearly, what you've done now is school photography. If you knew what you know now, what would you have? How would you think you would? Did you think you'd have made it, or have you learnt anything that you could maybe have thought about that would have actually, you know, allowed you to pursue that documentary photography wise?
Yeah. Well, you know, it would have. So you should take every opportunity that you get given. You know, not think like I was a bit cocky. If I'm going to be totally honest with you, you know, I was just a bit cocky back then, because I had a whole year of students around me in my photography group, and it was me that was getting the exhibitions, and it was me that was winning the prize. And I'd left uni with this big head and big cockiness, and that gets you nowhere. You know, you just got to be clever and bright and get yourself in the right places, and you know, and the other thing is, I had no money. Like I just literally had no money, so I had to earn money. I had to just do all sorts of, I had to earn money because I lived alone. I lived in a flat, and I paid the rent, and you know, so you know, you've got to.
I get the impression that with a lot of artists, if you've got money behind you, you've got more of a fair chance.
Yeah, it's the same with actors. Yeah, same with actors. If you notice, I mean, there's been loads of documents, loads of studies. There's several out there. But you, for instance, you look at actors, you look at artists. You've got your Tracy Emmys. Don't get me wrong. Actually, when you think about it, the real famous artists and the good ones are the ones that fought their way up from these sort of working class areas. But the general, if you in a percentage, most of them have come from backgrounds that are wealthy, should we say? You know, actors are the same.
I remember someone saying that to me ages ago, when I had my career break for 8 years, and I was doing street photography, like you say, just going out shooting. And I remember someone saying to me, she came from an art background, and she said to me, if you don't have the money to back it up, it's very difficult to accomplish what you want to accomplish with your art.
Yeah, that's right, because no one pays you any money. No one knows who you are. And I think that's another thing now, that no one knows who you are. And you've got to understand that, right? That no one gives a shit about you or your work, and it's your job to make them do that. They're not, they're not going to come to you. And I think that when I left uni, I mean, maybe I was like 25 at the time, or whatever I was, 24, even younger than it, whatever. But in my head, I'm thinking they're going to come to me. You know, kids are going to come to me. All I've got to do is put it out there. They're going to come to me. It obviously never happened, and it doesn't happen. You know, you've got to go out and continually
Pound the streets,
pound the streets. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to really do it. I mean, and actually, I learned that when I started this company. So by the time I started this company, I'd had a career in teaching, where teaching taught me a lot. It taught me how to be professional. Yeah.
So when you say teaching, I thought this is photography education you were providing.
This is
Marc.
teaching. Like I went to in 2002, so I left in 2000 in uni and was mucking about doing my bit or whatever. Started to do some teaching in 2002.
Okay.
And that was in a college, yeah. So like to students. And then I got a job in a school, and that's basically I had a career as a teacher, as a school teacher, sixth form.
Oh wow.
In college and all that, and I did that for 12, 13 years full time, and that's what I mean. That's when I sort of like fell into teaching, but it ended up that I was actually quite good at it, you know, like even like so I was promoted very quickly, and you know, getting pay rise because they didn't want me to leave and whatever else. And it was like, oh, all right, this is good, you know. And I did really enjoy it. It's a really enjoyable experience. I mean, it's like, you know, teaching is great. It's like teaching kids and teaching adults, and it's a real good feeling. So I cracked on with that, you know, and you know, I did well. I became head of department very quickly, and then I became what's called an AST, which is called an advanced skills teacher, which was when you pass this other qualification, and then you train other teachers.
Okay.
So I started to do all of that, and then I thought, oh, well, I'll tell you what happened. Michael Gove came into the frame. Yeah, we had a change of government. This sounds really weird, but it was just, this is exactly what made me tip it out to go private, because I was having a good career and I was enjoying myself, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay.
It was really, we had a really good time. Like I'm friends with obviously lots of people still to this day that I used to teach with, and we had such a good time teaching, making a difference to kids' life, but we was also like having a good time as young adults as well, you know, like drinking, going out, friends and whatever else. And then he came in and just changed the whole education system, and it became a lot more about filling in forms and this, that and the other. I just thought, and I just started a bit of a realization, and the only thing at the end of it, at the end of teaching, that you get is actually like the satisfaction that you've, you know, helped a load of kids, right? Now that's nice, but in the real world, I was just thinking, because I was watching older people retire, and then, you know, you get your clock and you're off, and I just thought, no, I'm not doing this, not for people like Michael Gove, right? I'm just not going to do it. And I know that you're really doing it for the kids, but at the end of the day, I just thought, no. So I started to do the Saturday classes and the evening classes, and they just full up. Now I've done a few, and then they just word of mouth. I never advertised once, and they just got full up. And I was full up like year in advance in all of my classes. You know, I was doing courses Saturdays, and I was earning some good money. I was charging good money, yeah. And I was teaching at the same time, so I had a full-time job, and I was doing that on Saturdays, some evenings, Sundays as well. I didn't have my child, but I was childless at the time, so it was all right. And then I just thought, well, let's just do it then, because I'm not advertising and everyone's coming to me. And it was still competitive. There was people in my area. There's still people in it that do it. And my ones were full up. I'd get people ring up on an email and go, the last one I've tried to book again on this one, and it's full. I said, well, I told you. I said, you've got a book for 6 months' time or next year. You've got to book on that one, because otherwise they're going to get full up. People never believe me. So with that in mind, I thought, right, I've got something here. I've got something here. So, and I enjoyed it. I used to have a right laugh. I met some brilliant people who I'm still friends with today. And so it just went like that, and then it went online, and like I said, it finds you in the end. It's weird. It's just. Oh yeah, and that's what I was getting to the point of. So what teaching taught me, which I didn't know when I was younger, was professionalism and hard work, right? Which sounds weird, because you think you work hard, you leave uni, you work hard, but you know what? You ain't got a clue when you leave university. Students, you don't know how good you've had it, right? Until you have to start to get a career and compete with other people. If you want to be head of department, right, then obviously there's other people that want to be that as well. So you've got to, you've got to
stand above the rest.
You've got to go the extra mile, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it learned me. So I was actually doing 2 jobs at once when I was teaching. I was teaching and then starting the business. And I was doing, my wife, Sarah, she actually mentioned it the other day, and I totally forgot. And she was saying, because I've bought a new car, and it's a nice one. I'm not going to tell you what one it is, but it's a bloody nice car, and it's the first time that that I've splashed out like that, And she said, and she was saying to me, "God, do you remember like when you was working till 10 o'clock at night every night in the thing?" And I thought, yeah, I was when I was just come home from. I was head of department, AST for school, full-time job. I would come home and I'd be on the computer, building websites, planning other things, doing whatever till 10 o'clock at night every single day. Then doing a Saturday, sometimes a Sunday as well. If I was doing like Lightroom courses, I'd do them on Sundays. And, and that is how you start a business. That's how you do it, right? And I never had, when I left university, I never really realized that. And I tell people now, whether they listen to me, I don't know, but, it doesn't matter how good you are, teaching or photography or landscape photography or whatever it is that you want to do, if you're not prepared to sacrifice, you're not going to make it, because you're in a competitive industry and someone else like me is going to come along and beat you, because I'm going to work till 10 o'clock. I'm going to do them Saturdays. I'm going to do them Sundays. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to go the extra mile than you, so that my company is going to be better than yours. Do you understand what I mean? And if you haven't got that, then and I think that's what I didn't have when I left university. I had like the good photos and the award, and I had this and I had that, but I didn't have that kind of verve, that kind of like grit.
Passion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that is what, if you want to make it in photography, because I've seen, I'm privileged now to actually have seen literally thousands of photographers, Brian being one of them, as a matter of fact, make it, if you like, and do well. And I've seen photographers that are really good and don't do well. And that's because they haven't got that other bit. They haven't got that sacrifice. And I hear them say it. I've worked with photographers. Sorry, go on.
So you would say you would need to have a very strong entrepreneur head.
Yeah, you need to have a strong, and you need to be prepared to sacrifice. I've worked with photographers who are constantly moaning, I've got no money. And then the next breath is, I can't do that day because I'm seeing my daughter. I've had these, and I think this is the only day that can be done. So you're the one that's going to miss out, right? You have to figure that one out yourself. You have to plan your time. Go, okay, right, well, I can only do that then. And, your family is important. Your daughter is important. But if you've not got a business to support them, then you've got to put that to one side. You've got to say, I can't do that day with your daughter, but I will do it next Wednesday instead. Do you see what I'm trying to say? But there are people out there that are not prepared to make that sacrifice. They're the people that will fail. The people that would succeed, and I'm working with one right now, and I could just tell, you can just tell attitude that he's got, he's gonna just fly, because he does exactly what I just said there. If there's a job and there's money or there's promote or something going on, everything else gets pushed to one side and that gets done. And then, you know, you go back to your family at another time. You don't get me wrong, you don't like ignore it or anything like that, but you have to just figure it out.
It's prioritization, isn't it? That's the thing.
Prioritization, but sacrifice is the word. If you're not prepared to sacrifice your evenings, your weekends.
But then how would you, if you were talking to young people starting out in photography, then how do how do people network to get the jobs that they want to get?
What networking is social media. I mean, social media is brilliant for that, to be honest with you. You can collab with people. I mean, we're doing it now, don't forget. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, you can collaborate with people and join, you know, that is the networking part, is social media. I think that's the best thing about it.
Well, how do you make sure you get jobs that actually pay? Because obviously there's some jobs that people aren't willing to pay the photographer, you know, and they say, oh, if you do this job, I can promote you. But then it's no good if it's not paying you, is it?
No, well, you know, you've got to balance out what you're going to get out of it, basically. And if you think you're not going to get anything out of it, then don't do it, because it's just going to be expected of you. So sometimes you will do things for free, but it's effectively not for free. And then other times you just put your day rate in and you put your money in. I mean, you've got to earn money, haven't you? It's as simple as that.
I suppose the reason why I'm asking that is for someone who's just started out, finish their photography course, how do they make sure they're not taking advantage? Because the thing is, part of being an entrepreneur is knowing balancing it all out well. If you're starting from scratch and you're taking your first job, the last thing you want is to be doing things for free all the time.
Yes, so you're going to have to do, so if you're just starting out, you're going to have an element of doing stuff for free, because you've got to build a portfolio up, right? But there's ways of doing it. You could, instead of if people come to you and say, let's just say you want to be a portrait photographer, let's just go down that route, right? And then people come up to you, oh, I need some portraits for my business, and you can do it for free while you're learning, sort of thing. Well, that's a no-no, right? Because they're never going to come back and pay you in 2 years' time, are they? Because in 2 or 3 years' time, you're going to be wanting to charge £100 an hour, £50 an hour, whatever, and they're going to go, oh, last time. So you always say no to that kind of thing. But what you would do is you would go out and find people, and you would say to them, listen, can I take your portrait? You know, I'm building a portfolio and this, that, and the other. And if you come at it from that angle, then that person is going to give word of mouth for you for a start. They're going to know that you don't normally do it for free, that you went to that person and you said, look, I like the look of your face, or, you know, I like your business, and it would be really cool if I could take your photos and use it in my portfolio. You use it on your website, and then I can link to your website. And so, do you see what I mean? Did it that way round.
I mean,
that's the way to do it.
I mean, well, something I've done, and it's maybe not the same level as you, but I mean, I had a local charity that contacted me because they seen, well, in Pennycook, they know my images, and asked to make a calendar. And when I sat with them, the charity said, oh, how much do you want paid? And I went, actually, I don't want anything, because I know you're a charity, and charities these days are pretty much struggling for money, but this is a local community that I'm in. And what I said to them, I said, well, look, for me, it's like free advertising, because people are buying them. It's word of mouth. They'll hand it on to someone else. Oh, whose are these images? And I've sold about a dozen to a lot of people that follow me in America. So to me, that's advertising who I am, what I'm about, and it's almost like you're getting 12 images to give some people a flavour of what you're about. And I think that's another interesting way to look at it as well.
Yeah, definitely. That is it. That's exactly it, Brian. You got to just think to yourself, what are you going to get out of it? And is it going to be worth it? I mean, I suppose if you want to, that's the most simplest way to look at that. But if you're just starting out, you know, if you're going to have to do an element of free stuff, but you've got to think to yourself, what are you going to get out of it? And that's that.
But then also you have to think about, is it your genre as well that you want to get into?
Say that again. Sorry, I didn't.
You also have to think if it's a genre that you want to get into, because there's no point doing photography in all different areas, but it's not suited to what you really want to do.
Yeah, exactly. All the photographers that I've worked with at the School of Photography, all the professionals, they've all got like a genre, shall we say, but they actually do all the other stuff as well, because obviously it pays the bills. So yeah, so you have to have like a broad kind of, you have to be any business, you have to be flexible. But yeah, you would definitely have one genre. But it's what I said to you like before, that genre that probably will find you, because you'll be putting the most time into it. Like Brian, for instance, he hikes all over Edinburgh, right? Because he loves it. He loves it. I can't see. I wouldn't say that you would probably go hike all around, the streets looking for people to take pictures of you. Because it's not what you'd like to do. So your genre will find you. It will find you.
And I think really just to dwell on that, because I think that's a good thing that. Well, I know what you give us is in the School of Photography, you set us assignments, which is all part of learning. And that could be for maybe a good idea for somebody who maybe didn't know what direction they want to go in, to try all different genres of photography. And then they might find something that, oh, you know what? I like doing like Gladys. I like street photography. I like watching people in the street, or I actually like going up the hills and seeing. So that's maybe in people who are new to it, that's an idea. Maybe just try a lot of different things, to actually find what.
And it's natural to do. I've had that question before from lots of people. I don't know. I've not got a genre. I've not got this, that, and the other, because obviously they see everyone on Instagram that just does landscapes, or that just does studio portraits or whatever.
I think
everyone's the same. Everyone tries. Everyone's the same. When you're first getting into photography, you're just doing everything. Because you just love it. You're just doing everything.
But I think for me, street just happened. I fell into it because what I wanted to do was improve my photography originally. So I ended up doing a workshop with another street photographer that's quite well known, and then I ended up falling in love with it. And I was lucky because the tutor I had was very passionate about street photography, and she actually took time to build up my confidence to be able to go out and shoot in the street, because shooting the street is not, it's not an easy genre. It can be very intimidating as well, because you don't know how people are going to react towards you.
I always think that street photography is kind of, it's easy to do, but it's really hard to do well. Street photography, do you know what I mean? Like you can go out and take pictures on the street, etc., but it's really hard to do well, because there's obviously millions of street photos. So how do you make yours stand out amongst all of that lot?
And also I think it's luck as well.
There's always a bit of luck,
You can't, it's not something you can plan. So you may have a good day, you may have a bad day, you may find something that's a good shot, and you might go through one day where there's nothing worth shooting, or you haven't seen it.
Maybe it might be nice, maybe Gladys, maybe nice to describe to Marc the photograph that one of your most popular ones that you got awards in.
Oh my God, my one-hit wonder. The one-hit wonder. It's the one with the bend. I call it bending reality, because it's got a mirror and it's got a guy pushing the mirror down, and the path curves into an unreal path.
All right.
And I took that because I just loved the illusion of this path going in, but it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it was funny because when I took the picture at the time, I was with another street photographer, and we both shot the picture, but we completely got different results. Which was interesting, because we were literally standing next to each other. It goes to show you can literally be in the same spot but take a completely different picture.
Because you see different, because because the skill of that, I've not seen the picture, but by the description, the skill of that is seeing something that quick.
Yes, it is. It is. And I had my camera in continuous mode, so I was like snap quickly before it went. And I timed it as well, because I wanted to make sure it was in a certain way. So that's why I quickly timed it and click quickly before it went. But But I wasn't expecting it to be so popular because I remember thinking at the time, oh, it's okay. It's an interesting picture because I always presume streets about people's expressions or the way, the way people are dressed, whatever. And I remember the next day I put it up, I had a bit of a heart attack because I was like, and that's what's going on. Suddenly had loads of people liking it. It just kind of flew.
Yeah.
Picture.
But it
And
works. Like, you always don't know. You don't know what people are going to like, do you? You know,
no,
especially on social
you
media.
don't.
Different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think at this point, I think maybe why don't we have a look at some of your images, Mark, and we can just maybe get a wee bit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go for it.
Right. Let me just try and bring up the first one. Okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah. So this.
Here we go. This is one you picked, Gladys, I think, eh?
Yes, I absolutely love this image. I love the the way it's been composed, his expression, and why the crucifix?
Yeah, exactly.
interesting.
So this was the project that I did when I was at university. That one, the first project that I did it's definitely what it is. So it's shot on film. And it's flash on camera is what that is.
Okay.
And I think I invented, so I had a bit of card on the top of my flash gun, and I cut it. I remember I made it, and I made it with sellotape, so it was a bounce. So it's like a bounce reflector, and I wanted to do a project that was quite powerful, right? I didn't even know what. I got to be honest. I was just at uni, wanted to do a documentary project that would sort of that would just hit home, really. And I don't even. This place was called Bondway Housing Shelter, and then it was in Vauxhall, right in the middle of London. Right, it's not there anymore. It's now posh flats, and there was a housing shelter for men, like middle-aged men, and they weren't the young people. They would go to Centre Point. These were just like old. They were older, and they were just shocked. They were shocked to bits, to be totally honest with you. And I don't even know. I still to this day don't know how I got the contact. I think someone must have said it to me once when I was kind of like had a few drinks maybe and whatever, and then I just got involved with this housing shelter. And me being me at that particular time and being young and stupid, I turn up with my camera. I spoke to them all, and they was like, "Okay, yeah, you want to do a documentary project on the shelter? Go for it." Because what I don't like, and I still to this day don't like, is pictures of homeless people on the street. Right?
Yeah.
It gets on my nerves. So I just wanted to sort of get into it. I wanted to get into it rather than just on the street. And so I got to know the managers and this and the other. I turn up with my camera, and as you can imagine, no one wants their photograph taken, right?
Yeah.
I just thought, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to get these portraits. I'm going to just, just me being naive, really. And it didn't work. I mean, to the point where people were getting aggressive towards me, and I put there's a photo in here of a guy called Tom, who was nasty, to be honest, but eventually he let me take his photograph. Anyway, I had to go and work here and volunteer here, really, and it for about 6 months. So I put the camera down, and I thought, right, this is I've got to rethink my strategy here. So so I just went there, maybe once a week, twice a week. Did some volunteering. I went out on their soup run. I spoke to the residents. These residents would come and go. They would live there for a bit, and then they'd be gone somewhere and then turn up again or whatever. And then after about 6 months, they got used to me and they wanted to talk to me. So the tables turned. They just wanted to talk to me. They're all so these men, and it teaches you that every one of us is on the edge of a bad experience, and we can end up here, right? Because they were all alcoholics, really, mainly drug addicts or whatever. That they was just, and that was for their problem. That's why they were here and on the streets, etc. But I never found out what happened to any of them to get them to that point. They would never. No one, not one of them, would ever talk to you about that. But that's obviously what had happened. Yeah, and then because they're all drunk, then in the end they're calling me over to take photos. And once you've started taking a few, and then you go back the next, because it was prints then. So I'd go and take the pictures.
Yeah.
I'd go and get them printed, and I'd come back with the prints, because and then you can show them around. And I did that a few times, and then all of a sudden, oh, they're your friends. They want to take your picture, and then you're in. You're in then.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I just got to know people. So there's pictures that I took that were like documentary, where people weren't really looking, and I was just walking around. I had the freedom of the whole place. Like, all these people that would normally just punch you in the face for taking their picture just was ignoring me.
What's this one about the gentleman?
Yeah, that's the guy who really didn't like me.
Oh, no.
And I was told by the managers to keep away from him because he's aggressive. And he was aggressive, but he never hit me or anything like that. And he was just, you could tell, he said, let me look, he's got tattoos in his ears and tattoos across his head. And that drip there, that's a drip of beer. He's just drinking beer off his mouth. But I got this one picture, not two, not three, not just this one picture. That was it. That's all I got. And that's why I kept it in the project. And back then, actually, it was less about composition and lighting and, grain, and it was nothing. When I was taking these pictures, I was just looking for a moment in the person or that time in place. Whatever was in the background, whatever was in the foot didn't really bother me. I was just trying to capture something that was happening right there. And this was this particular time where this guy let me take his portrait. I was told, go on, Tom, let me take your portrait. All right. And he just looks at me, bang, I get this shot. So I've always kept this one, because even though it's not set up, it's just the
but it's good though, because it's got him snarling at you. You can see.
Yeah,
you can see he's not.
There's character, There's character in some description. It tells that, and
he's quite aggressive just looking at that picture.
Yeah.
But also, but it makes you wonder what's the. I mean, when I seen this photo, I was thinking, what is that across his forehead? I mean, what is it? What's it representing? So it's all a story, isn't it? With this character, you wonder what's it all about.
Yeah, and it's a story that I.
Suit as well. He's got a suit, and
with the shirt and the tie.
Yeah. I mean, it was a mad experience. Like, it really was. I mean, I was like, what was I? I think I might have been 21 years old at the time. I was. But do you know the thing as well? Looking at it, you can tell it's a film. It's not got that digital look, because you can see the noise in the back, and so it's got a nice look about it. Yeah, this is a scan of the print. Like, so back then, when I used to print them from negative in a color darkroom, and this is just a scan of that print. It's not a scan of the negative or anything like that. It's a scan of the print. So there's a guy. Go to Moser there. That's it. That one there. And he was a nice fella. And the reason you would notice with a lot of these, there's another one in there. You'll see it in a minute. You can see it looks like they've been beaten up.
Yes.
But it's generally not. They've just fallen on the floor, but they're just drunk and paralytic, so they just fall face flat on the floor and they bash themselves up like that.
He looks happy enough. This is the thing.
But they would all just be pissing about because I'm there with a camera, and obviously it was a novelty. It turned into being like, what you doing with that camera, to like, he's back. He's back. Look at him. He's back. Here he is. Because I'd go back, like I said, I'd go back and show him the pictures. I'd print some pictures out for the big ones. Like what you just see, the portraits. I'd print them, and if I thought they were nice, not like this, like I'd go and find them and give them the print. So and there's pictures of what did I put? Did I put one of the? There's a guy sitting on a bed with one leg and things like that. These are the things you'd see, because I'd try and get because it smelt in there. It was just the smell was unreal. So you try and photograph the smell somehow, or the dirt somehow, and so there was some that put in there.
And I mean, in terms of that whole project, how long? I mean, once you said you obviously were working there and you photographed them, and You know, how
Yeah.
long did it all last? And did you do anything with these images after it, Mark, when you had finished
Yeah,
it all?
well, that was the project that won that prize, the Jack
Oh, I
Jackson
see.
prize, and it had
Okay.
the exhibition, and it was went to this big posh presentation. I can't remember what I won. I won some stuff and that, and there was an exhibition, like I say, at Focus on Imaging, and there was a touring exhibition as well, so it went to other places.
All right. Okay.
But that was.
Did you find out the story behind each of the gentlemen as well?
No, you could never find out the story. They were always like paralytic drunk,
Yeah.
or when they weren't really willing to talk to you, or they just would. You can imagine they're not going to tell me, a young, just like give me their life story.
Yeah. I just wondered, that's all, because like for example, a while back ago, sometimes I went through a phase when I used to talk to certain homeless people just to see what their situation was, because I felt so sad seeing the situation there was.
Yeah.
And two of the homeless people I spoke to, I wouldn't say they were paralytic. They didn't seem to be in drugs or drink. One of them was an ex-army guy.
Yeah.
He basically left the army, but I think he must have suffered from PTSD or something from the whole situation, and just couldn't adapt to civil life, you know?
Yeah, I do know. Yeah, because I mean, that project, I sort of spent a lot of time with these guys, and you know what it taught me, it scared me really, because you know we were all just one event away from that, really.
Yeah, that's
right.
right.
We all just, if something really bad happened, you like to think that you're strong in that, but you just don't know.
Just don't know.
And that's what happened to a lot of them men there. And then obviously they're addicted to alcohol, and it's just I don't know, it's just a fucking.
I always got the impression that a lot of it's with mental health as well.
Yeah, of course,
which is why people end up on the street, because they just can't cope with their mental health.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying to you. Like if something can happen that would then, you know, I don't know how to describe it. I'm not a doctor, but like, you know, send your mind in whatever.
What I find interesting with people that are homeless, like Sample Damon was a prime example, that he was from the army, he ended up in the street, he got used to living in the life street. They tried to, they found a place for him to live in. For some reason, he was back out in the street again.
Yeah.
It's like he couldn't adapt to living in a home.
That's right. Yeah.
And the sad thing about what happened to him was he eventually died in the cold weather, which was absolutely heartbreaking. And he obviously created a pseudonym because he didn't want people to know who he was, which was sad. And another situation I knew was of another person. I actually took their picture. They were playing chess. It was a homeless guy with his friend playing chess. He made all the chess pieces himself. And I said to him, "Can I take your picture?" Because I loved the fact that he was playing chess, homeless. But it made me wonder, how can someone, who's obviously intelligent enough to make his own pieces and, and to make something out of nothing, could end up in such a bad situation?
Yeah, exactly right. That's it. Yeah. You just, and that's what that taught. Doing that project at that young age to teach me that, it made me think, just be careful.
We'll move on to this one now. This is, so this is one you'd pick, Gladys, wasn't it?
I love this because I love the fact that you've taken this old Barbie doll. I used to play with toys like this when you put the makeup on, and then there's this old guy next to it.
Yeah. Well, he's selling it. He's selling it at a boot sale, and that is just like I started. So I wanted to. This thing is, when you start projects, they'd always go off into a different direction. But this started off as like I just wanted a snapshot of British culture, actually, and I thought that the British boot sale is quite unique to Britain, and I thought that they were disappearing because of Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, and that. And I thought, right, this is actually going to be a really good thing to document. Let's just start documenting it. So I just started to go around them and take photographs. But in the end, what it turned into, what I think it should be, is throwaway culture. Really, the amount of crap that we've that we've got and that we throw away and that we buy for no reason, and then you try and sell it for 50p or whatever. So it kind of turns into that's what I saw it as in the end. And to be honest, I don't even think I finished this project. I might go back to it.
Do you think you could create a book over it? You know, of this project?
There's easy. Mate, I would love to have a book. I nearly had one with Olympus sponsoring it, but like I say, they went bust. So,
but do you have you thought about approaching some kind of, you know, like a charity or an organisation that deals with,
I've been given a few.
Stuff.
Yeah, I've had a few people email me and say, "I'll go to this publisher, I'll go to that publisher," because they do like short runs and they like little arty projects and this, that, and the other. But do you know what? I just haven't, because I've just been so busy, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for someone to come to me and go, "Yeah, we'll do it." And I'll go, "Oh, here you go. There's a load of pictures," and you know, that's what because having the time's unbelievable. But this, I really like this picture. This picture is.
I love this.
Yeah. So with the boot sales, so it's all a British culture, selling things out the back of your car, and there's just so much crap that people buy and then try and sell again. And it was all that kind of stuff that was just interesting to me. And the people that you meet, you have a real good chat with people, and these are carpet sales people, if you like.
Yeah.
And, I just like the way when I was walking past, he was just standing in the car there like that, and that's his wife, I think. She's just leaning up against it, smoking a fag. Right, and I thought, okay, I'm going to get this picture. And I told him I'm doing a project, blah blah blah. Do you mind? He's like, all right, and she's like, you can tell that she's not all right. Yeah, and then I set up, so I get down low, I set up with the camera, so I'm just 50mm or full frame. So most of the boot sale stuff is done on the 50mm, or when I was using the crop sensor, it was a 35 actually.
Is this film again, Marc? Is it?
No, this is all digital now.
All right, okay.
This is all digital now. Set up for the shot, and just before I take the shot, the dog gets up and stares right at me as if he's going to bite my head off. And I took the picture, and that's what just made it, because you can see this diagonal going through the image, through the two people, the man, and then the dog, and there's just a nice diagonal going through the whole shot. And it's crisp, sharp, which I like. And then you've got the foreground with all the carpet, I think. And so and I just one of my favorite ones, to be honest with you.
You know what?
I suppose it's the composition of it that I like.
You know what I like? Typical British. They've got white socks under his sandals.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. There's all these nuances that you find. And
then we've got this one here.
I love that one as well. I love that picture. And I look at it.
Yeah, when we had the exhibition up London, the one with Olympus and that, this is the one that they used for the kind of poster and the cover image.
Give me a minute.
The British boot sale project, and this is it, isn't it? It's just like there's a van, and then just like everything's just fucking chucked on the floor. It's just like, there it is. If you want it, you can just pick it up and come to me, and you can. And you know what I mean? It's just like it's literally the guys just opened the van and just piled everything outside the van, and it's like, you can buy it if you want.
How long ago was this, Marc? You've done this?
I've done it over the period of a few years actually, I think it were probably the last time I took any pictures on this project would have been a couple of years ago. 2019.
Okay.
I love the way that you've shown how everything is laid out on the floor.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But look at the stuff, because it goes right round the back of the van to where these people are walking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As well?
It's like pouring out the van.
It's like a trail, isn't it?
Yeah. But I had a great time doing this project actually, and Did you get a lot of interaction with the vendors and things? Did you? Yeah. Oh yeah. Brilliant. So I had some great chats with people. Like, there's some pictures I haven't. I mean, the amount of pictures I've got for this project is unbelievable. But there's one picture. Put that one up. Actually, I can talk about this one. So these are people that I had a chat with, and they do like house clearances and this, that, and the other, and then go to boot sales and try and sell the stuff. And there are a
What
couple.
is that? The background.
Yeah, exactly. So that was exactly my question, right? What is this thing? And they goes, I don't know. They've got it from a house clearance. It's obviously someone who's into like American Indian culture, and it's been made by hand by whoever. No one knows who. But what was interesting was that they saw the value in that, not as, because I said to them, how much are you going to sell it for? And they went, we don't really, it's not important. You know, someone could give them £1 if they wanted, they don't care. But what they saw was the value of what someone else had put into it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because they've got other stuff on this desk that is worth money, you know. And then there was this right in the middle of it. And I just had a good chat with them. And that is actually what another reason I find these places interesting, because there's things that people find of value that are not monetary value. Do you know what I mean? And and they saw this. I mean, they're there to earn money, but really what they wanted was for someone else to come along and like it. You know what I mean? And I just managed to get this picture, and they both was looking in the opposite direction. It just was like a perfect sort of symmetrical composition, really. That obviously that makes it so. There's a change here from the last project when I was at university, where to me it was just about like getting that moment, whether that, it don't matter what was in the background, and that was just get that person in that moment and print it and just see if we, because they have got that energy about them already. Whereas going forward now, I've obviously taken a lot more photo, and now I'm actually looking for I'm looking for balance, and I'm looking for all the compositional skills that we all use. You know, that's what I'm looking for. And when you've got an interesting subject mixed in with them compositional skills, then you've really nailed it. You know, Cartier-Bresson is like the absolute master at that. You know what I mean? So that's a good project. Yeah, it's a good project.
Well, I think now we'll move on to some of your more recent work, your nightscapes.
Yeah, this is what I'm doing like right now, and I literally sent you some pictures that I'd only done like, you know, I've done a few weeks back. I thought I might as well go right up to date, you know.
I love that. I absolutely adore that.
Yeah, that one was last year, but yeah, that was just the city lights up in London. And again,
it's the way you played with the shapes.
Sorry?
It's the way you played with the shapes of, you know, the lights and the structure.
Yeah,
I just love it.
Yeah, and it's all of this, like I say, you have to use photography and editing skills, and you have to be good at all.
Yeah.
Produce pictures like this. So it's all like, it's pretty pictures, you know, whatever. But night photography, you do really have to know your stuff. That's why I like it, to be honest with you. Because when you nail it, you've not just done it by accident. You've actually exposed it. You know, you've done maybe a bracketed shot. This one's not a bracketed shot, but maybe you've done a bracketed shot. You've blended it in Lightroom. You're using all the modern technology.
I mean, obviously with this one, it's a long exposure, but are you using a tripod when you're walking about?
This is a tripod. Yeah, this is a tripod. And there's a funny story, because I'm waiting for a bus, right? Now, you'd think in the middle of London. So I'm set up, the scene set, isn't it? Yeah. So I've got the, like, if you zoom out a bit, Brian, I think because it's cropped, well, unless it's my screen, I can't see the bottom, but yeah, there we go. No, the other way.
I'll come back. Yeah.
Yeah, come back. Yeah, that's it. So you've got the train station walkway. Yeah. That's like leading you round like that. And you're all set up, and I'm waiting for a bus. So I figured out the exposure time. I think it might have been about 4 seconds. And I'm waiting for a bus, right? And I'm waiting for bloody ages, right? You think they'd be coming. For some reason, I was just waiting. There just weren't one there. I must have been standing there for about 10 minutes or so. And just as the bus starts to come, I'm thinking, oh, here comes a bus. And I'm looking, here comes a bus, right? a tourist, this is the thing with London photography, right? A tourist is like behind and he's looking, thinking, oh, that's like a good scene. He's come and stood like right there in front of me with his phone to take a picture of the London Underground sign as the bus went past, right? Just at that particular time, right? I was like, Jesus Christ, I had to wait again. And like, you know, yeah, but I have it all the time when I'm up London. People stand in front of it. You wouldn't believe it. Like you have to just accept it. I've accepted it now because otherwise you'd end up like just shouting at people. And this, you just have to accept it because you just get it. So I'll set up. I was there the other day with Big Ben and that, and I'm all set up. And they're standing. So I'm using Westminster Bridge. So you can picture it. It's Westminster Bridge. It's leading you down to Big Ben.
Yeah.
Classic. You see him on Instagram all the time. But because you're sitting there on a tripod and you're all framed up, people walk past you, the tourists, they walk past you, stand in front of your camera with their phones and take pictures because they think in their head, they're thinking this must be the best spot for it. But without like, and you just... I've just learned to accept it now. Honestly, I've just learned to accept it because otherwise you'd just be like shouting at people and that. But,
my dad would say, "Do you mind? But I don't want a door in front. I need a window, not a door in front of me."
Yeah.
Acting like a door.
I mean, apart from the people, you can just maybe just see down here and to the left of the image down here. But I mean, what time of night was this, Marc? Because I mean, I know it's a 4-second exposure, but I mean,
it's so off the top, you could probably right click and find out, to be honest with you, Brian, but off the top of my head, it would have been 4, 6, 8, maybe something like that. I don't think it would have been more than 8 seconds.
I also love the fact with that bus that you can see the window of the person inside it.
Oh, right. Yeah. And
you exposed it quite well as well.
Yeah, that one there, Brian. That's the one I took the other day. I got lucky. So we was talking about luck. Yeah. So this was the first picture of the night. Funnily enough, it's like I couldn't beat it after that. But
it's just the colours in it, Marc. You know, the tanks and with the wheel and the buildings, and then presumably that's the water boats that are going by. You've got there as well. Is that?
Yeah. So I'm just set up, and I thought to myself, I'm going to do a 3-shot pano of with the London Eye in the middle, and then you can't. I've cropped it out now, but just to it's going the wrong way. To the left of this image, right, as you're looking at it, there's the City of London as well, with the tall like Gherkin and the cheese grater, if you know what all them buildings in London. And then obviously to the right of this frame is the London Aquarium.
That's near Whitechapel.
No, it's not near Whitechapel. No.
It's a greater.
No, yeah. And then to the right, you've got the London Aquarium. So it was like, I was thinking, I'm going to do a 3-shot panel, like, boof, boof, boof. Merciful together, see what happens, right? And this boat just came under as I took the second. Well, I know I moved and I thought there's a boat, so I'm going to take the other shot. I took another shot. I took a couple actually, and I've blended them in because I missed the first part. And I took it as this boat was like a party boat with all the lights going off into the distance. And I looked at it on the back of the screen. I just knew straight away. I went, yeah,
wonderful.
This is good, because otherwise that area would be really blank. So I was going to be relying on the reflections, and the reflections just ain't good enough. And then that came through, and I tell you what, not one other boat came through that night. I was talking to the guy. There's a guy that does the roasted chestnuts, in London. You've seen them. Yeah. Not one Londoner has ever bought any of them chestnuts. I never once. I was born in London, live in London. Never once have I bought from the roasted chestnuts. But anyway, I'm having a chat with a guy, and he's going, "Yeah, not many come through it because it's a Monday night. This was, I think, on Tuesday night. I can't remember. But I managed to get that, and I was really pleased. And so that was just the other day. Yeah. I
mean, I'd be questioning. I presume, obviously, the London Eye is not moving at that time of night.
Yeah, it does. But it wasn't at that particular point in time. So I don't know what they was doing that night, because I took a few more pictures and it was moving. So maybe they was doing some maintenance or something along them lines,
Okay.
but it was still at this point. Yeah, and I've got some other pictures where it was actually moving. So maybe I just got like,
Got lucky.
yeah. Well, even so though, if it was moving, it would have looked good as well, to be honest. You would have got it like straight. These are like about 30 seconds exposures each one. And this is actually just two of them. It's a 3-shot pano, but really this is just the two really.
I think that's what I like about it, because clearly, I mean, most people would think it's two photos blended together, but it's not, because it's not moving. But then you've got the long exposure for the boats, so it's giving you that effect. I think it's quite clever.
Yeah. There's two. So this is 2 shots and they've been merged. And then in Photoshop, I've stretched out. I'm pointing at my own screen here. You can't see what I'm pointing, but I've stretched out the boat streaking to come forward.
Right.
Because
Okay.
there was a gap there, because I just caught it a bit too late. So I just stretched it forward so it came.
Okay.
So it comes off of frame. If you
That's a wonderful image. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know how much you like your night photography in London.
Yeah, because I can just walk around and be on my own, man. I just really, it's really nice and peaceful. If you go out there on a Monday, Tuesday, and that, it's.
I mean, what sort of time is this, Mark? What time are you up there at? Just out of interest.
This would have been 7, 8 o'clock or something along them lines. Yeah, and I'll just hang around. I mean, here's a tip for anyone that wants to do it: just hang around one area for a few hours. So this is obviously all that's Westminster Bridge. You just hang around there for a few hours.
This is a fairly new one as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I did this a few nights ago as well with that's my friend Aaron there.
Is it? I was going to say, is that by chance, or is that somebody that you know?
No, I set him up. If you zoom out a bit so that we could see the full image. That's it. Yeah, that's it. And this just a bit more, Brian. I don't know if you can see. Can we see the bottom?
That's the full size.
Is that fully? Yeah. So this is a 3-shot merge.
Okay.
And then an extra shot with him. So this is round Lloyd's of London. So this is the business district. This is where London earns all of its money. Yeah, and the top. So you have to take 3 shots for something like this. You have to take a darker one for the highlights, a really light one for the shadows. So where that red light is at the top, that building is really dark. As a matter of fact, you can see the panes of glass in this, because what I did was expose do a high exposure, a brighter one, so that I could blend that in. So basically I've got 3 shots, a middle, one for the low lights, one for the highlights, one for the shadows, and one for the middle, and then you blend them together. And then I got Aaron to go and stand there. I think it was a 2-second exposure for that one. So the others are like 30 seconds, 15, and a minute.
Yeah.
And then Aaron's just like 2 seconds, because obviously you can't stand still for longer than 2 seconds, And then you blend them in. And I mean, if you really did zoom in and pixel peep, you would see that around Aaron is noise, because you have to up the ISO for that one to make it. And then the rest is lovely and smooth. And again, I come back to it. This is why I love night photography, because you've just got to know your stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, to get a shot like that, you've got to know your stuff to get a shot like that. And that's why I like it. So, yeah, it's different, isn't it? When you take your own pictures, you like the ones that I suppose that you've put a lot of effort and technical sort of stuff to it. And someone else might look at it and go, I like the boat one better or whatever. But
I love the way the taper, the verticals going up. It's kind of drawing you. It's like something coming down with the verticals coming. It's like something futuristic look about it to me. I think that's the way that I see it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the look I'm kind of going for. And that middle, you're looking through 2 buildings to another one that goes up. So what I'm doing is I am moving in micro kind of ways left. You can look at that. Look at that's like millimeter per. I love this kind of thing, So I've got myself positioned like dead, so that middle building, the windows and the lines are like really symmetrical all the way up to the top, So I'm there on my tripod, moving it about. People are coming up to me all
Even the
drunk.
reflection, Mark, even the reflection here.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't get that reflection if you didn't do a merge, the free exposures.
I'm almost feeling vertigo doing this, zooming in.
Yeah. And this is just a wide. This is just ultra wide angle as well. This is not like
what sort of lens did you use with that, Mark? What were you on?
This is shot at 16 mil on a full frame camera, so like ultra wide. Yeah, and I just liked it. And then what I do is I'll take a color from the scene and I'll use that as my kind of color grade. So for this one, it's that greeny glass that you see. Yeah. So I'll copy that green and I will blend it into the highlights, basically, so that there's a kind of hue. Yeah, so there's like a hue to it also. It's a very subtle kind of color grade to the whole lot. So it's all got
see in the floor as well.
The whole thing, yeah. And I'll just do it, and that's in Lightroom. Yeah, and then that's a Christmassy one from last year.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I just posted that tonight, actually, again on my Instagram. Just tonight.
Oh, have you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did a black and white version.
Okay.
Pinged it up as a sort of throwback to last year.
I mean, was this something that you had? I mean, obviously, you've had to maybe think about this one because where you're standing, or was this something that you just seen these Christmas decorations hanging up and you just thought, how did you come? What was the story behind this one, Mark, to arrive at this final image?
So this, I can't take the credit for this idea because it's been done so many times. Like it's a bit of an Instagram. It's an Instagram classic, shall we say, which is like basically a picture down the middle of Regent Street. So that's the middle of Regent Street, and you look up at these angels, and there's like, you just go on, if you do hashtag Regent Street, you probably see tons of these types of pictures. But this was my take on it. This was my kind of take on that particular picture. There's loads of different places you can stand on Regent Street. I've seen some really cool ones. There's a curve before this part, as you're walking up Regent Street, it curves, and I've seen some really good ones there. I actually might go and have a go at that, but I'm going up London to take photographs just after Christmas. I might have a go at that one, but so this was just my take on it. And basically you have to figure out the shutter speed time that you want, and it's different for each side of the road, because one side's going to be flowing.
Of course. One way or another.
yeah. One side's going to be flowing quicker. It's London, right? Yeah. And traffic on Regent Street in Christmas time, it just don't bloody move. So you've just got to try and figure out a good shutter speed time. I can't remember what this was. 4 seconds. I'm thinking it was about 4 seconds. And then you've got to take some one side, take some the other side, and then you do the rest of the magic in Photoshop, and the aim for me, it was just getting it bang on symmetrical, really. That's what I wanted here.
So I think what I'm taking from this, and for other people, clearly with the night photography, there's a fair element of post-processing involved because of what you're actually having to do and work with.
Yeah, like astrophotography. It's like astrophotography,
I've got you now, yes.
Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing on a computer, then you ain't going to get decent astro photos, I'm afraid. I know people...
But you've also got to get right when you're there, choosing the right, what you just mentioned, different shutter speeds. You've got to have that knowledge so that you can then take that back into your software and edit it properly.
Yeah, exactly. I really like that element of this type of photography. That you've just got to figure it out, and you've got to know your shutter speeds, and so if your shutter speed is at 4 seconds, you want your ISO to be low, and you still need to have it. You still need a long depth of field. You've got to figure all that out as you go.
And I'm presuming that you're having to stack plot the images on top of each other to get all the different lights.
Yeah, sometimes you'll get you'll get a bus that goes through. It's because it's the speed of the vehicle as well makes a difference. So if the vehicle's going through nice and slowly over 8 seconds, you're going to get a really nice bus. If it's going fast over 8 seconds, you're not going to get. So Yeah, so that's it. So yeah, you would take a few and you would pick the best ones basically, and then go back to Photoshop and put them together. Yeah,
I mean, this one here, where are you standing?
in the middle of the road. I don't recommend doing it.
I was going to say,
I actually take this shot in the night photography course, so I show people what to do, how to do it in that online course that I do. And yeah, I'm standing in the middle of the road, but you know, if you're going to do that yourself, then it's at your own risk. Don't blame me. Okay, it's as simple as that. Yeah, so you just stand in the middle of the road, and there is an island there that you up with here. Yeah, but this is one of them shots that I took it years and years. Not this particular one, but the first time I did this idea was years and years ago, actually, and. I hadn't seen it been done before. I'm not saying it hadn't been done before. And this is the thing when you're photographing a city like London, and I would presume Edinburgh as well.
Yeah.
That it's really good to get something unique. And it might not actually be unique, you know, but as long as you, in your head, because you're your own judge at the end of the day. And in my head, I never saw this before. I've seen it now a few times, but I never saw it before the first time I did it. And so that's good. And there's a few pictures I've taken like that. They're the ones I really like.
What's that to the Marc? What's that to the right? This kind of light thing. See this?
Yeah, so that would be probably a reflection off the bus windows from a light that's over there somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Of course, that is it. There's.
Yeah. It could see the two floodlights on the top of the bridge there. It could be a reflection from that. You know, it's just a reflection from somewhere.
You can see it coming down the way as well, eh?
Yeah. I mean, and
there's so much to look at in detail here.
Yeah, to try and Photoshop that out is just, you can't.
No.
It's just
quite a good modelling shot as well. I don't have a model in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's right. I've done, not for this particular one, but that last one that you saw on Regent Street, I put Aaron again. He seems to be my model. I put him in the middle of that, and it did work. But actually, I don't think it worked as well as having a clean middle in that particular instance. But yeah, of course, you put people in if you want to take them out, whatever. But yeah, that one's all right. I don't know what other ones you've got there, Brian. To be honest.
No, we've only got 12 in total, Marc. That's most of the images we've shared now. So, but that was great to see that, and you know, I mean, I know that. I mean, so are you mainly saying now that night photography is your main thing that you really generally?
It's just something that I'm doing at the minute, you know.
Yeah.
That's it, really. I don't sell prints or anything like that. Obviously, I've made the course and I teach people how to do it, so I earn money out of it that way.
I mean, just while you're on that, I mean, I think it's, you know, I think maybe this is an ideal opportunity because clearly, you know, our audience, or maybe some people coming into photography and want to learn photography, or maybe learn of certain elements. So maybe just give us a wee bit detail behind the School of Photography, what you actually can offer people.
Yeah. So the School of Photography, we've got online courses in lots of different things. Our biggest seller is the beginner's photography course. So that's for people that have just bought a camera that want to get into it, and that just teaches you how to control visual elements and use your camera. And that's sort of like, that's the people love that one because it's much better than learning from YouTube and things like that. It's like very structured, and you do tasks and that. And then moving up from that, we've got Lightroom course, Photoshop course, studio lighting course, portrait retouching, headshot course, what else? Night photography, astrophotography course. We've got the fine art landscape that we do for people that want to put textures on their thingy.
Wildlife as well.
Wildlife photography, yeah, with Andy. Yeah, Andy's a character, mate. I'll tell you, like that. Have you watched that one?
Not yet. I'm going to do it soon, but not yet.
Yeah. He's a character, that boy. You'll like him. He's an Essex boy as well. I didn't pick him for an Essex. It just happened. He's in Wales, as a matter of fact, but he actually comes from Essex as well.
I think it's. I think it's just at the time because obviously, you know, I'm living proof of, you know, what I've discovered through photography with the School of Photography, because you touched on it a minute there. When I first came into it, like everybody, I scanned YouTube and it was all there was nothing constructed in a manner. It was all over the place. And then I found
YouTube
next
throws
minute,
up.
yeah,
Yeah, go on. Sorry,
and then,
YouTube throws up more questions than answers.
exactly. Aye. And then when I came across this thing called the School of Photography, and then I've seen some videos, but then what I liked about it, and then, you know, it was well structured, it was well laid out, and the way you speak was really a language that I could understand. You know, it was, you know, where some of it can be quite technical, but the way it was laid out, and even more so for me, the biggest thing for me was actually the learning how to create your catalogue, you know, with this file structuring system, you know, because that's a big thing, because, you know, otherwise you can't track it properly. But you know, I mean, I just love it, you know. I mean, because what we've got a lovely community. Gladys, you know, Marc and his team behind him sets us assignments, which I referred to earlier, but that, you know, stretches your comfort zone in sometimes, or your creativity zone, and maybe you don't realize it, but you might be using these techniques in your normal photography because they're in here somewhere, you know.
I mean, what with the School of Photography, my vision for it was, and I think I've succeeded in it, is to have a school as good as going to school, but with doing it in your own home, like online, you know. So that was the vision, because I come out of a school, obviously, teaching background, and you probably know teachers, like everyone knows a teacher. Just ask them this question, you know, is teaching what they do, maybe science or whatever, is teaching the same as actually doing it? And every one of them will say, no, it's not. It's a different skill set. And the School of Photography brings that skill set to the table. It's like you're effectively in a school, learning, very structured, doing the tasks, sharing your results online, and doing the assignments, you know, and again sharing that online with other people like yourself, Brian, and we're having a little conversation about that. So it's like, you know, that's what I wanted it to be. And I wanted it also to be sort of like a progression, so people start, you know, when they're just starting, they've bought a camera, but then they can move on to if they, because let's just say you're into wildlife. I mean, Andy Rouse is, you know, he's up there, isn't he? You know, he's like one of the most well known in the country. And so once you've learnt your stuff, if you really want to get professional and get right into it, then you'd move on to that specific course, wildlife, landscape photography, or portrait photography, or whatever it is that we've got over there, you know. And we're building it all the time, you know. We're working on lots of stuff.
I know even some of the recent ones, because this will be interesting for Gladys, because it was street portraits, wasn't it? You know, and
that was one of the assignments, because that's hard. That's not an easy thing. I see. That's what I do. I set them just to challenge people, because actually the skill there is being a bit confident, you know, having confidence. And like, it's kind of like you've got to do it to get that confidence. It's not, there's no like step-by-step guide. You just got to get out there and talk to people. And when you've done it for the first time and succeed, it's actually really enjoigable. You think, you always end up having a good conversation with someone.
I knew that,
whether you get a good shot or not, you know.
I think I actually, I can't remember if I said or made it in the post, but that's what I felt when you said it. I thought, oh my God, this is going to be different, because we've done street photography before, where that's more or less at a distance. But I bottled it, because I was lucky, because when you set the assignment, I remember the following day, it was the Pennycook Late Summer Fair. And I thought, how cool's that? In my own place, rather than going wandering up Edinburgh, my own place where you don't feel you're kind of, you know, you're in your own little villagey town place. But there was a cracking character at a bus stop, but there was two young girls at the bus stop at the same time. And I bottled it. I thought, you know.
No, I've done that I've done it many times, man. Some days you've got the confidence and other days you haven't. It's just weird.
But then later on, just walking up, went down the hill, here was a guy sitting in his doorway, wrinkled all over, smoking a cigarette, sun on his face. I got chatting to him and found out in his day he was a wedding photographer, had the darkroom, had all the stuff, and he thanked me for spending time to take his photo and have a chat with him. So right away, at that point, as you said, that gave me the confidence, Marc, to actually then go on and do what I've done.
Yeah, it's good. It is good. I mean, yeah, I need
But
to
had it
go.
not been for that assignment, I wouldn't have done that. So that's what I love about the assignments that you set this us
Yeah.
in this school of photography.
Yeah, it gives a focus, doesn't it? It keeps you
Yeah,
focused on
yeah,
the job in hand, which is learning photography.
yeah.
Um,
And the good
yeah,
thing is, it's like and that's the one thing I like about it, because all photography, people like all different things, and people produce different results from different assignments that are set. And it's and Marc also Gladys, he does for the assignments, he does a mid-assignment critique, and then he goes through all the images with his people, and they then give good positive, they choose good and bad examples so people can learn as well from
yeah,
different
That's
things.
good. That's good.
yeah,
That is
yeah. So yeah, and it is good. Yeah, I like it. That's what I mean. And again, them things just come from me wanting to be a teacher. Do you know what I mean? Like when you were when I was a teacher, and I used to teach photography to college students and to GCSE and A level and this and the other. That's the bit you love, sitting down and going. So they'd come in with their images from the assignment that you set, and you'd have a chat about it. So that's just where it comes from. It just comes from that. It just comes from me, wanting to kind of make it more like as a school as possible. But
Yeah.
obviously, I want to do it en masse. So yeah.
And also the most recent one you've launched is the Astro one, which I'm really looking forward to starting. And when you sit down but the only thing in Scotland, we didn't get many clear skies.
Yeah, but when you do get them, it's going to be mad. It'll be brilliant up there when you do get them, because Ben, who runs the course, he's got some from Scotland. They're absolutely fantastic. You know what I mean? And
there's a forest. I can't remember what the name of it is, but there is a place in one of the forests that you can get completely clear skies. Because I remember some people took pictures of the Astro.
That's down by Dumfriesshire, isn't it? In the Galloway area. I mean, you do get Gladys. I know we do get them in certain areas. I'm quite fortunate, even sometimes in Pennycook. But we've got the meteor shower, Gemini's meteor shower, coming tomorrow. Thursday, Friday. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, double that happens, because I've got a nice composition framed up for it. But I mean but that's a good thing, Gladys. What Marc does, he brings in these experts in their field, and they work for, I don't know, I mean, give us an example. How long does it take to produce one of these courses like Astro, for example, the most recent one?
That took us 2 years from start to finish, but that was because there was a bit of like Ben had some issues in between that he had to deal with, so we had to sort of put it on hold till we could get him back in the studio. But so I'd say on average, like you're looking at least 6 months for one course to produce. And sometimes you're working on 2 at once, and this, that, and the other. I mean, they're not like there's that Astro one is like 5 hours of video content.
Okay.
So that needs to be edited, and like anyone that's done any video editing will know that it takes a long time. I mean, if you've and we do edit them properly. We've got 3 cameras on the go. Sometimes we have screen captures. It's all got to be put together. It's all got to look nice. And
are you out there most of the time with these people that you're bringing in to do these courses? Are you there at most times when you're doing the filming?
Yeah, I'm there all the time.
Right. Oh wow.
Yeah. I'm there all the time. So I'll sit there and structure it with them. So basically, these people have got the skills and but not to put them down or anything. They've got the skill, but they're not the skills in teaching it. So I'll bring that to the table, and we talk about what they what they think people should learn in astrophotography. What's the main things. I would have already done some research, and we have a chat and we make some notes and we go there, and then we come up with lesson ideas. Okay, so they should start here. They should then do this bit. They should then do that bit, and they should build onto this, build onto that, build on. You see what I mean? So I structure all of that, and then I will direct it after that. So I'll direct him into right, we're going to do this lesson now, and we've already done loads of talking in the background and whatever else. And it costs a fortune to make a course. People don't understand. It costs a small fortune to actually make the course. But that's the business. That's what we do, and that's how it's gone. And it's good. We're working on two courses as well right now. It's absolutely brilliant. If you're into portrait photography, Sujata Setia, her name is. Just look her up. She is absolutely like one of the best out there. I swear to God, she's won all sorts of awards all over the world, and we got her on board, and we're editing her course at the minute. And
Okay.
she really is. I'm not just saying, she's absolutely just, she for portraits.
And how much do you charge for the courses, just out of interest?
So if you wanted to buy a single course on its own, like the Astro one, it'd be £79. Or,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's not that expensive. But if you want to become a member, it's £126 per year, and that's for everything. That's all the courses. It is really good value for money. I'd love to charge more, but we've got to be competitive with other companies out there. Personally, I think it's worth more. That's what I think it's worth more.
Oh no!
How long does it run for then? Like the course, is it one whole year?
Oh, what do you mean? Like no, so if you buy a course, then it just,
if you do.
So how long? How long is it?
Mm-hmm.
The videos, you mean?
How long are the courses? How long does the courses run for? Like, say, when you buy the 1 year course, what do you get out of it for the 1 year course? I'm just interested. That's all. So, in general, what you do and everything.
So if you do a yearly membership, obviously that lasts for a year, and you can watch all the courses. And it really depends on how much time you've got. But so an average course is probably about 5 hours long. But then you've got the Photoshop one, which I think is about 7 or 8 hours long, and the Lightroom one, because obviously they're a bit more involved. And then it's just going to be really how much time that you can put into it yourself. But like we say, on average, someone with a full-time job will complete a course in 1 to 2 months. That's just like an average, and it just depends on you and your work, and how much time you're going to put into it.
No, I mean, maybe this is an opportune time. I mean, how can people find out about the School of Photography, Marc?
So you just come over to the schoolofphotography.com, and all the information is basically there. So you just the schoolofphotography.com, and you just scroll through. You can click on individual courses and read about them. There's also previews on each of the pages, so you can press the video button and watch the preview. And then there's a membership page where if you want to be a member, that's the one. That's the one I would recommend. I'm not, obviously, I know you're thinking I'm trying to sell it, but I honestly do recommend that one because it's the most cost effective. It's the most.
I can agree with you, because it gives you the added extras that you're in the community. We speak to one another. It's a closed Facebook page.
And we get discounts from, we've just got a new deal with case filters. Case filters, they're quite good filters. So if you're a member, you get 10% off straight away. So if you're looking to buy filters and you become a member, you've already saved money. Simple as that. But that's and loads of other things on there as well. So, but that's definitely. Thanks, Brian, thanks for the plug.
No, not at all. No, well, I think it's been a great evening. It's been a fantastic discussion. Gladys, have you got anything else you want to ask?
No, I think you've answered everything that I wanted to ask.
Okay, well, thanks for your time, Marc. Now, just one thing we always like to ask at some point in the future: would you like to appear back on the channel?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Just let me know, Brian. I owe you a few favors anyway. You've done the same for me, so it's.
I know. Just for everyone's benefit, and Gladys, maybe you don't know, but I think when Marc used to have every month we have a live Q&A, and for long enough it was professional photographers, and then you put a post out to the community and said, look, I'm looking at getting some amateurs or newbies, and guess who was the one that got picked?
So we got Brian on for an hour. That was a good one, though. It's a good one.
I enjoyed it. Listen, you know what? I enjoyed it, Marc. And I know I've developed as a photographer by what you've brought to me as a photographer through the courses and the assignments. So I'd like to say thank you for that, and thank you for coming on. I know you're a busy man, and I'd like to say thank you for tonight, and it's been wonderful, and I'm sure a lot of people can take a lot of value out of and lessons out of this. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It's lovely meeting you.
It's all right. It's a pleasure. Thanks for asking me. It's been a great evening. Thank you.
Okay, cheers, Marc. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
On Quickcast, we'll